I've been playing Minecraft for a very long time, and over the years I've been told that I should make videos on my redstoning. Hello everybody under the sun, my name is Polk, and welcome to my brain. Version... I've lost track over the years. I've had so many iterations of my redstone testing world that it's just so hard to keep track. But this is the one that I've been sticking with for quite some time now, and I plan on making this one my permanent, persisting world that I'm going to do my very best to keep using for as long as I can. So, the first two contraptions I'm going to show off were inspired mostly from TangoTek, one of the hermits on Hermitcraft, during their 7th season, where he made a minigame called Decked Out. And I got huge inspiration just from the concept of having a game in Minecraft, really. And I kind of wanted to do something similar. So this is a shop, as you can see from the text here, and it, in a rough way, will accept exactly 16 tokens and give you 1 key for the door. And I've got the tokens set up right here, and you pop your tokens in. And then you get your key, and it'll sit there on that new pedestal until you pick it up, and then it'll be returned. Now, I do have up here currently a disclaimer that anything extra or less than the required amount will be lost. I will put in just 15, and I will not get a key. You'll hear that dispenser, but that has nothing to do with the key that you're about to get. Now, in the future, I'd like to do something where if you didn't put enough in, you would hear some other kind of noise or something that might indicate I need to put more payment in or something, and then make it so that you'd be able to toss in one more, hear that bing, and then get your key. But unfortunately, regardless of how many you put in, after you haven't put in a full 16, it will not fully register that you've paid the proper amount, and it will not give you a key. In the future, it will be fixed. There's your key. Moving on from the shop, this was supposed to be a concept of the entrance. So in here you'd have, you know, your slot to put in your key and your door, and this would be the reset button, I guess, so to speak. So you toss your key in, you get filtered into the system, you hear your little jingle, and then you start your game. Door's locked behind you so that once you're in, you're in. And like I said, just a concept. Hadn't finished any of the other finishing touches or any of that. Reset, of course. And the key dispenser gets locked when somebody is playing. So you'll know if you were to come up on a server to play this game, you would be able to see that somebody's already doing it and you're going to have to come back later. Moving on from that, one of the big elephants in the room. This is the first iteration of a very interesting concept of mine. It is a floor selecting elevator. The actual concept for the Minecart elevator isn't mine, and if I can figure out exactly who I saw the concept for, I will post it in the description, but the actual elevator mechanic isn't my design. However, I did modify it slightly with these wool cells here to make it so that you could stop it on specific floors rather than just go straight up to the top. So, let's just try this one out. Oops. Well. That's unfortunate. Oh well. Let's go ahead and see if I can remember how to use this. It's been a while. Yep, there we go. Wait a second. Everything to do its... That. Oh, you can hear things doing its thing. This elevator takes a long time to calibrate. That is the sign that it's ready. So then you get in your minecart and you push a button. And now I'm on this floor. Minecart goes back down. Those were all sounds of the system resetting. It is very messy. This version was not very well designed. This is actually the second concept, and that's basically the same thing, but I did a little bit more work to it. So I'm going to show off that one. But this is my more compact, better operating design. It actually works about twice as fast, maybe even more so, and it has the added bonus of being shorter and having the exact same amount of floors. Same concept as the elevator. Over there, you got your minecart, you would push the button, and it'd send you up to the floor you select. This one, like I'd said a second ago, does operate a bit... Hang on a minute. Am I stupid? Am I stupid? Okay, anyway, so you've got your different floor selections. I did it color coding and by block type, so with the white concrete and the white wool, that would be the first floor. The light blue concrete and the light blue wool would be the second floor, and so on and so forth. And each type would be left or right. So let's just do pink concrete. Toss that in there, and you'd wait a little bit until this light comes on. That beeping is actually specific to the floor you've selected. See? Twice as fast. Maybe even more so. So then you push your button. Sound files are a little better. And you even have a door that opens. Because like I'd said, each key goes to a certain room and a certain floor. Walk in here. Take your key out. And you lock your door in. Have your storage for all your stuff. And then I actually have a second selector here, which I was working on over there at the other elevator, so that you could use different modes / maybe turn on or off different features. I hadn't quite figured that out yet. But, let me see if I remember if this works right. Theoretically, nope. I had a return system that you could send your key back if you wanted to, but I don't think I fixed that. So for now, just gonna chuck that back down there. I could say this is simple and easy, but nobody would believe me. Moving on to other stuff. This is something that I've called the brain circuit. And it works. Each one of these blocks is an input. So let's say I do that, and that. Now up here, I have this pattern based on what I've selected. And I can unselect and reselect and just kind of go crazy. I can just select a whole bunch of stuff. It doesn't really matter too much. I can just kind of cycle them around. And up here it will change 1 to 1 with each press. And then if I want to reset the whole system, I can just come down here. And it resets the whole system. Over here is basically the same thing, but it is more of a on-off with a reset. So like I can't like constantly toggle them. They stay on once they're on. And then you reset them with the main system. But the bare concept is pretty much the same. Haven't found a full use for this yet completely, but I think it's pretty cool. Moving on. Those are kind of the extent of my minigame projects. I've got some other concepts here. Like I was working on a slice of something. Quite frankly, I don't really remember what this was supposed to be for. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this was just my mock to figure out how the elevator was going to recognize floors. It's been a long time since I've tinkered with most of this stuff. Moving on. Over here, I had some concepts from a Maisuma Games video where he was talking about instant transmission hopper lines, or dropper lines, rather. And I thought it was a neat concept, and I was trying to play around with it for, super high-speed item transfer for the elevator, and to, like, maybe speed up some transfer times, load times, just make things overall faster. So, right here, these interesting, colorful monstrosities is a shulker loader. I can't quite remember where I got this design for, but it's a pretty standard shulker loader design. It'll filter in any items that you want, and it'll sort them and fill the box up completely, and then break the box, put it into storage, and put a new one out to be filled. And I was working on this concept to try and find a mass storage system, similar to how AE works or refined storage. And I kind of wanted to do something about it in vanilla Minecraft, where you'd have somewhat of a terminal and you'd be able to like select or call shulker boxes from a deep storage, which would have been, you know, a little slice like this of some sort. And I was kind of working on a tileable design to see if I could find a way to filter in new shulker boxes from a bulk system while also being able to turn it on and off for only one, like, say an item goes through this and then says you only need this shulker box. So I'm going to shoot this one out and then tell the system there is one missing from here and is going to need to either be replaced by the shulker box that you took or by a new one if you decide to keep it. Moving on again. Let's see, where to go next? Same concept of the refined storage in vanilla. I did a few models of, it's the same concept, but it is a little more compact, and it works in a bit of a different way with minecarts. So this would be the storage cell, where you'd have items filtering in and filling up the deep storage, going down into their bulk storage eventually, and anything that was extra unused gets kicked through to go into the next cell or cycle back around to be put into whatever bulk, return, or whatever extra storage that I didn't set up yet for this because it's just a mock. And now I said minecart, and there's no minecart in here, so what the heck am I even talking about? Well, Maisuma Games has been doing some cool things in the last year or so with minecart storage systems that I love mechanical engineering in Minecraft. I think it's one of the coolest things you can do, and I just think it's such a fascinating to watch concept. So I've designed this Pez dispenser here that will take this shulker box, which is totally full of orange concrete. If I put it in this barrel, it's going to take it out, do a whole bunch of complicated nonsense, and basically separate that minecart into a configuration where in that hopper minecart there will be a shulker box missing only one, as you can see there, of the orange concrete and the subsequent orange concrete. Why would I want to do that, you ask? Well, if I take it over to this component here, which I'm only banking on this working because this is a hit or miss concept right now. Now that the new configured Pez loaded minecart hopper has made its way to the next feature of the storage, it is going to make its way along, and if it finds the one that it needs, i.e. this orange cell, it's going to send that shulker box back through and recompile it for bulk storage. So what I've done here is made it so that I can select from somewhere what I want to find. The system will know where it is because of how it's set up. It'll call that shulker box out and send it to me. But if I want to put that shulker box back, all I have to do is toss the whole shulker box into the system, into some return or somewhere, like so. And it's going to do everything for me. It's going to split it, it's going to compile it. This cactus wouldn't be there. Normally that minecart would just go straight over into this configured cell. And it's going to give me the new split minecart. The new split shulker box. I just love watching this stuff work because it's just so fascinating to me. It's actually a slightly delayed filter setup, so that it has enough time to both suck out the shulker box and the extra piece of concrete that was removed from it for its filtering. Because that way you were able to specifically decide where a shulker box needs to go purely based on its content. And then obviously down in here there's another shulker loader that briefly plonks the shulker box back down so that the block can filter into it, and then it'll break it and send it on its way to its storage. Neat, right? I think it's neat. Moving on. These things, I don't know how to feel about them. I made them totally by accident. I was just kind of playing around with note blocks and observers and just the general use of note blocks and observers as a component in Redstone. This is Jeffrey. He is a heart. He beats at roughly about 56 beats per minute and is very consistent and only really works in this exact configuration. If I break any of this, Jeffrey starts going into cardiac arrest a little bit. See, he's a little disgruntled. He's very disgruntled now. Jeffrey doesn't like it when you mess with his heart. Over here, the even bigger monstrosity, yes, you guessed it, this is George. My slightly slower heart that beats at 50 beats per minute. I don't have any actual use for these, but I thought they were neat, and it was a bit of a mind-blowing concept, because as I had said, I didn't intend on this to be how it worked. I didn't even think this would really do anything aside from just be a clock. But take it as you will. Jeffrey. And George. Moving on. Over here, I have a more finished concept of the cells that I was building down there. And actually, those down there were more like components. And this is what it would look like all slotted together, kind of. I'll go into spectator. Oops. Wow, that was close. So I'll be in spectator here so I can kind of fly around and give a general overview. So down here would be your bulk cell for each of the shulkers. Right now it's obviously empty because it was just a mock. But, you know, that's where you'd have all your bulk stuff to store each shulker box for future use and whatever. And then you also have the minecart track that's going to send the configured carts for restorage through here. And this whole concept needs a bit of redesigning because the timing on the rails isn't quite perfect everywhere, and it just makes things run a little bit clunky and uncomfortable. And doesn't really work long term like that, as you can see way over there in the distance. So there's a new cell in this concept that's green. And it's not anywhere over there because I only really built it. Oh, I guess I built it right there. I kind of forgot that one was over here. Anyway, the green cell was actually made so that if the minecart didn't successfully find what it was looking for here, it would be able to tell that and then send the minecart on to the next cell. But if it did find what it was looking for, it would also be able to detect that, and it would branch the minecart down and basically send it up top to be returned to wherever its Pez dispenser was. Moving on, one of the other features that I wanted for this refined storage in vanilla is some kind of display selection or some kind of terminal so that you could decide what items you want from your storage, maybe even the quantity you want. So this was my second attempt. That one was the first one over there, I believe, with its massive ribbon cable display. I don't even know if this one is working properly, so this might be an effort in futility. It's very slow. Oh, nope, it is working. That's not supposed to happen. All right. But yeah, neat concept. This one was also mostly me playing around with the idea of a ribbon cable using observers. It's very slow because of that, because observers slow down much like repeaters do, just a little bit. So over here, I actually chained two of those together to make... It is a 112 input display, where you could have 112 on each side, different inputs. Same adjustment system. You can see it down there, and it'll switch. Oops. So I change that input, and it'll change that input. But if I want to go up a level, I change that input, and it'll move it up a column. So on and so forth. So I can take this all the way up, change the inputs as I want. The only thing this system was missing was a confirmation button or some way to say, I've made my selection, I want that. Because I was mostly just working on the actual concept of the display, as it took me several weeks of troubleshooting red coders and nonsense, and the fact that these item frames need to have a very specific redstone input that needs to travel a long distance, which I didn't even think was possible until I actually got into it and started working on it. But I digress. Now, the other feature that this one has is that I can actually switch which side I'm using. So like you see, now it's on that side instead of on that side. It's a bit slow. It's a bit slow, I'll admit. Now, on that slow note, over here is my much more finished version of the display. This one is only 56 inputs. However, this is more of a computer. So you turn it on. You hear the ding, see the light, it's on. Same concept. It's much faster. It's a little bit spam proof. It's not quite completely spam proof. You can still break it pretty easily if you're not careful, just because of sticky piston nonsense. But it's the same concept, but it is a little bit more compact and uses a different concept. I think I already broke it. I did already break it. That's why these doors are here, so I can get in here and fix it if I mess it up. I do that a lot. I'm a genius at breaking my own contraptions. It's like almost my specialty. Anyway, so like I said, it's not entirely spam proof, but it's this input is virtually spam proof, as you can see. I have yet to break this input. This input I always seem to break if I go a little bit too fast. I'm hoping to in the future update this again now that I'm back into it a little bit, and try to speed up the response time, because it is just a little bit too slow for my liking. I'd like it to be pretty one-to-one. You make the selection, you see the change, so that there isn't really as much of a chance to break it, because you don't have to spam through the inputs too much. So the other fun thing about this system versus the other one, if I were to turn the system off right now, I'm going to eat my shorts if this doesn't work, it should save the input that was last on screen. And there you go. That is the last input, and I can continue resuming my search from there. Turn it off. System turns off. Turn it on. System turns on. Flawless. Very nice. Very cool concept of, as I'm calling it, a water circuit board. Really neat idea that I came up with, or didn't come up with. I don't want to take credit for that if somebody is quote unquote patented or something, but I saw somebody do something similar with water elevators, with bubble columns, and I thought it would be the perfect application for my computer brain. Moving on. There's a tutorial in the works for this next project, but I haven't quite finished it yet, so don't look at any of that. Ha. So something else that I was working on lately is I would like to have a way to have my villagers and say, I need to figure out if I like your trades. So I'm going to give you a workstation, trade up with you, do all that fancy fun goodness. And then if I don't like your trades, I can say, it's time to die. And there he goes, to his death. And the minecart is going to make its way back to its appropriate slot. And in the same deal, if I say, like his trades, and he isn't a total waste of human garbage, I could then push the same button and send him along a different journey in with all his lovely friends. And the minecart will once again make its journey back and make a full reset in the system. Like I said, there's a tutorial in the works for that because I think this could be a pretty cool design. And I haven't quite seen anything like this out there yet, so I thought it'd be nice. But that's all I got today, so thank you everybody for watching, and have a great one.